Well, good morning, guys, and welcome to the show, Fernando.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Today we're going to be talking about Thinkware Dash cams. This is going to be a multi-part series. This is part one, where we are going to discuss the differences between the Thinkware Dash cams. They have the 200, the 850, and the 3000, and today we're going to learn about those features and which one might be right for you. In later videos, we'll dig deep into each one of them and then show you how to install them, so stay tuned for those coming out in the future. Let's get started, shall we? First camera up is this guy right here. This is the Q200. So we'll start with the features that this guy has, as well as we're gonna unbox all of these and show you all the cool things that they have. This, if we look at the box, it does have a bunch of writing on this side here. Otherwise, it is pretty straightforward and plain. Something that stuck out to me is this sticker right here. Do not accept if seal is broken. This is something to note. If you buy one of these and this is open or it doesn't have this, chances are good there's something shady going on. This is also telling me that the GPS antenna is included inside of this. These are stickers that were added to this. Now, before we open it, let's talk about some of the features. The dash cam itself uses a 2K QHD sensor. The rear camera, this little guy here, is full HD. It does have Wi-Fi with dash cam link app as well as Bluetooth. Cutting the tape right on the top of the box is that 2K dash cam. Let's zoom in and take a closer look at the camera itself. DC in is located here on the top. On the back side of it, which is actually the front side of it, because this is what you're going to be looking at, you have the Wi-Fi LED indicator, the status indicator, the manual record button, as well as the Wi-Fi button here. On the passenger side is what looks like a microphone. Flipping it over to the driver's side, here we have the GPS antenna located on the top, and right below it we have the video in. Looking at the front, when new, the camera will have this blue film over it to protect the lens itself. On the bottom is where the micro SD card goes. Push down on it and pull up. Inside the unit, we do have a 32 gig micro SD card. Back to the box. Top layer comes out, and underneath, Thinkware dash cam, finger hole, pull up, and this is where all our accessories are gonna be. Let's work our way through these. First, here on the top, where you have this cool red 3M sticker tape, is the mount. There's a screw located here on the side. Allows it to loosen up and move whichever way we want. This is gonna be for our camera. The camera is going to slide in place like this, and then this will stick to the windshield and go just like that. And then once you get the angle you like, you can tighten it up here. If you need to, this will slide off with no issues. Back to our box. GPS antenna has about an 18-inch cable off of it. This GPS antenna does not need to be mounted outside. Plugs into that top hole here. This is going to mount somewhere up to the window, probably up on the top, out of the way. It can see through glass, so if you wanted to put this on the window where it has the sunshade, you know, that black or the little dots, as long as it'll stick to that, you can put it there. It can see through that portion of it. It just can't be under metal. Next up is our power cable. Depending on how you're going to connect this up, there is a constant 12 volts, an accessory, and a ground. And the reason why I say that is because all of these have a feature known as advanced parking surveillance mode. And what that is for is that if the car gets bumped or anything like that, it will turn on the camera and start recording. You do have to make sure that it is connected to constant 12 volts and ground, because it's going to need to come on when the ignition is not on. If that's not a feature you're interested in, then as long as both power wires are connected to accessory, it will still come on when driving. Next in the box, we have this guy here, which is our rear camera. There again, it has that cool little protective plastic over the lens. This is designed to turn like this so that it can be mounted to whatever surface it needs to, and then you can aim the camera out the back of the vehicle, out of the front of the vehicle, from the passenger side over, wherever you'd like to put this. On the side of it, it has a matching micro aux jack input located here. This is the full HD camera. And as well in the box, next, we have the 5-meter cable that is designed to go from front to back. On one end, you have a 90, and on the other end, it is straight. The straight will go in the back of the car, just like this. And the 90 will go into the camera that is going to go up front. And it'll sit just like this, because you don't want this giant thing sticking out where it's looping across. And just so we understand, here is the GPS antenna, and they are staggered on the mount. We have some more odds and ends in the box. Let's get to those. Thinkware gives you a cool little panel tool to help you route the wires. They give you a replacement sticker tape so that if you need to remove this, windshield gets cracked, whatever it is, you have one here. Some sticky tape / wire runners so that you can use these to hold that like GPS wire or the rear camera wire to the window if you need to. Then last but not least, there is this, which is if you want to plug this into a power port in the vehicle, instead of hardwiring it in, this will just slide right in. The one thing I would recommend doing is making sure that it turns on and off with a key, so at least you know what it is you have going on. This just has the DC input here, which is going to plug into the top of it just like that. The hardwire kit does the same exact thing. Down in the very bottom of it, we have some QR codes to scan, as well as information for registration, and of course some silicate to keep moisture out of it. Some things to know about the 200 that we haven't mentioned yet. It does have advanced driver assistant. It has safety camera alerts, advanced parking lot mode, energy saving mode, super night vision. It is multiplexer capable. That's a cool device that allows you to add more cameras to the system. And just so you have an idea of how big this thing is inside your vehicle, it is just shy of 4 inches long by 1.5, and then the thickness is about 7/8 of an inch. Next up is the Q850, and let's go over some of the step ups for this guy. First, the big feature that it upgrades to is now this can connect to the Thinkware connected app and all of the features that are associated with it. However, the caveat to that is Thinkware Connected uses your smartphone or mobile hotspot device to make the internet connection to send and receive notifications. Carrier charges may apply. This does have Wi-Fi, and it needs that information in order to do the rest of the advanced features that we're now going to talk about, such as vehicle location and remote live view. This is going to require hardwiring cables or the OBD2 power connection cable, and installation done strongly recommended by a professional. And also, remote live view during parking mode is not available when energy saving mode 2.0 is enabled. Something to keep in mind there. Impact notifications, there again, those same notes apply to that, as well as strong impact video upload. Sending emergency messages requires that connection to a hotspot over its Wi-Fi. Vehicle status and drive history. Capture images of most recent parking. Geofencing. All of these require connection to a hub or a smart device. The other big difference in this is we're now getting upgraded, and this is the only time where a feature is different from this to the upgrade unit and uses the HDR rear camera. It is also, like the previous, multiplexer capable for adding more cameras. All right, let's unbox this thing and see what is inside. Just like the previous one, make sure the sticker is not cut, damaged, or lost. Slide the sleeve off. Right away you'll notice that this camera is substantially bigger than the Q200 and has a lot more buttons. Ooh, and it swivels so that you can get that optimum angle just like you did in the back camera from the previous model. Let's take a closer look at the buttons. Because we have a few more features, we have a few more lights. This has the GPS light, the record light, and the Wi-Fi light. Push to talk, format, power, and your Wi-Fi on and off, as well as a master button here in the center. 2-channel microphone built right into the top here. On the passenger side, we have the DC in, as well as the rear video in, which is now a micro USB. On the driver's side, it is just the camera. And that's really about it, other than the bottom where we have the mount. There are some little rubber feet located on here to make it stick better where it's going to be going. Pulling out the top piece of cardboard. Inside the box, we have the same hardwire connection cable. This one does not come with the cigarette lighter adapter. This is a little bit more advanced camera, and they want to make sure that you're taking advantage of all those features. So this one is going to require the constant 12 volts accessory and ground, so you can take advantage of those. The rear 5-meter back camera cable. On one end, we have that 90 USB, and then we have a straight USB on the other side. This is going to plug into it just like this, with that 90 facing up. It'll look like this on your windshield going up towards the top. Finish off that look so you have a good idea. We'll take our power connection. That'll go in as well. This will be angled just like that, and these two will come straight up. Next, we have the rear camera itself, which is still a full HD camera, and it's switched from that aux to the USB input on it. Otherwise, it's basically the same style camera. It swivels, has a big sticky tape on the bottom of it. It's designed to be mounted the same way, and then with its power connector plugged into it in the back, and this will stick to the window and run up. And lastly, in the box, we have the most important piece, which is this guy right here. This is the bracket that is going to attach to the window. And because this camera is a little bit heavier, we have a bigger piece of tape to give it more sticky area. And how this goes in, it's almost like a little keyhole slot. It has these brackets here. It is going to drop in place and slide over. I strongly recommend that you stick it onto the windshield with this attached to it. Don't stick this on and try to attach it. The reason for that is you could put this on backwards because it will only go one way. And if that's the case, your camera is going to be mounted wrong, and well, that would suck because you would have to pull this big piece of tape off of the windshield, clean it, and reapply it. The nice thing is in the box, just like before, we do have a backup piece of tape just in case you need to replace your windshield. And also we have the little sticky tabs to run the wire, the same silicate and the same pieces of paper with QR codes on them. The last piece of the puzzle on this is the SD card, which would be located like this. It would be up on the dash. You would come down, push in, pull out. This is a 64 gigabyte SD card. All of these can take a 256, so if you do want to have a bigger card so you don't have to think about it as much and it's not writing over the same thing in case you have to go back, I would strongly recommend heading out and getting yourself a 256 to go into them. Other things you need to know about the 850. First off, we didn't have that big GPS antenna that was going to stick to the window. That's because it's built into this. That's one of the reasons why it is a bigger size. And speaking of size, let's measure this thing out. If you go all the way to the tip of the camera, you're looking at about 4¼ inches. So it's actually only a 1/4 inch longer. However, it is much wider at about 2½ inches. Thickness wise, at its peak is about 1 1/8. So it's about 1/4 inch thicker that way. If you're one of those guys that wants to compare what this looks like to this is going to sit like this on your windshield. This is going to sit like this on your windshield. So that would be like this. It's going to be like that. So here's the two. As you'll notice, the camera for this one is off center towards the passenger side, and this one is off center towards the driver's side. The reason why I mention that is because a lot of people want to mount this in line with the mirror, and the reality is no, this is supposed to be in line with the mirror. This should be in the center of the car. So this is going to lean, this one is going to lean more driver's side, and those wires are here, so that is going to come over more, whereas this one is going to lean more passenger side, with the wires coming out here over to the passenger side. So if you're one of those really picky people that just, I don't want to, it might be worth the upgrade just so you can have the wires come out the other side, and you can move this over, as you see, a good 3 inches out of the way. Now let's take a look at the U3000. That's right, the big dog. We're looking at shiny silver writing here. The box just feels sexy. Yes, it does. It feels like quality, and it is. This now upgrades us to a 4K UHD sensor, double the resolution. The backup camera, that's right, the backup camera on this little guy right here, is the 2K QHD. So the backup camera on this has the same sensor that this and this have. This has radar module capability. Let's get into this and start taking a look at what is available to us. Cut the tape. Cut the clear tape, and here we go. Here it is here. As you can see, bigger, more buttons, does have a piece of protectant over it. Let's take a look at this guy. First things first, this is the top. This is what's going to be mounted to your windshield. It's going to sit like this. And I know what you're saying. Oh my gosh, well, how do this moves? Of course it moves. Why wouldn't it move? It has to move so that you can get it the right angle. So depending on what your windshield is doing, keep that in mind. If you have a really flat windshield, like a Toyota FJ Cruiser or a Bronco or a Wrangler, where you have that very straight, this only gets about that far. Other than that, let's dig deep into it. Camera, 4K, right here out the front. Flipping it over, we have a bunch of buttons. We have a manual record button, power button, Wi-Fi button, push to talk button. We also have that stereo microphone located here. GPS is built into this this along with the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. The nice thing about this is all these wires now, these are designed to go right up the windshield. So right when this mounts, these go straight out. You have your video in. This is a micro HDMI input. DC in, expansion port, battery. Over here on the side would be where the SD card goes. And there's also a reset button located right here, which I haven't seen on any of these yet. There's also a mic located here on the side. Let's keep going. Let's dig into the box. The first cable right here is your power port adapter. So if you want to use this plugged into the dash mounted power port, you can. These no longer have a 90 because it is designed to plug into the unit just like this and go straight up the windshield. Buried in the bottom of the box is this guy. This is the OBD2 power connection. Unlike the other models where you had to hardwire it in, this guy comes with this. Now this is an optional piece that is available for all of them, so if you want to go with an 850 or a 200 and keep your installation super simple, pick up the OBD2 power cable. This is designed to plug right into your OBD2 and this will go up to your camera. As you see on this end, this does have a 90. When you go to put it on your windshield like this has to be mounted down like that and it is going to make a little loop. And so for example, on the Q850, if you wanted to pick one of these up, it'll plug into the side here, just like that, as well as if you wanted to do the Q200 right here on top, it'll plug in. Next big cable in the box is our 5-meter cable to connect to the rear camera. This has 2 straight connected ends. Unlike the others, this is designed to come straight out of the unit, just like this. And in case you're going, well, what does it look like when you have the power plugged in? No problem, plug that in, just like that. Plug it all in. And these 2 wires will sit like this. Next out of the box is this, which is the rear camera. Oh my gosh, this camera is insane. It has like a leather texture to it, which is pretty awesome. Big piece of double-sided tape, and just like the other ones, it swivels, and it does have like an input for a little quarter on the side. So you can adjust this once you've got it stuck to the windshield, which is really cool. None of the other ones had that. In the end here is the HDMI, and it fits in nice and flush. If you'll notice here, there's like a recessed area for this to go into. Plugs in, make sure to plug it in good because it goes in quite a bit, and that's what you'll end up with. It's gonna sit just like this on the back of the car if it sticks to the windshield. If it sticks to the headliner, it'll look like that. This one also comes with a little bit different safety and information warranty card, but it has the same QR code for you to scan to get the user's guide. Also in the box, we have this cool little bag here with this blue dot and this microfiber cloth. This is the CPL filter, or circular polarizing filter. That is designed to stick onto this, so you peel this blue tape off, clean it really nice, and then just like when you're putting a screen protector on your phone, it's going to be applied the same way. There's sticky tape on both sides. Make sure you get it positioned the right way though, because it is a circular polarizer. It is designed to be mounted a certain way. If you put it on wrong, the effect is not going to work. This is basically like a pair of glasses to go over the front of this to help reduce glare. As far as lining it up, there are guide points that it tells you to use, so make sure you get those correct. Continuing down into the box, here is our mount. Very similar to the mount for the 850, but this has 3 connection points, a little bigger, big padded tape on the back. I still recommend, if you are going to be installing this in your vehicle, to attach this and then stick it on. You can always pull it off and push it on harder. And there again, the camera is a little off center, which is fine, so make sure you line the camera up with the rear view mirror. Make sure that you have enough room for those wires to come off. Don't butt it up against something and then you're like, oh crap. However, if you do manage to goof it up, just like in the other ones, it does come with a backup piece of double-sided tape. One other piece in the box, since we're talking about attaching this to the windshield, is this guy right here. This is heat blocking film. It's a little piece of tint that's designed to go onto the windshield, and then you can stick this to it, just like this. If you're worried about the tape getting melty in the sun, this will reduce the amount of temperature that comes onto it. Panel tool, and for those of you keeping score at home, this is available in the Q200 and the U3000. This did not come in the Q850. Those little cool little wire holders. And then last but not least in the box here is this guy. This is your micro SD card. It is a 64 gigabyte card, and it comes with the SD card, the micro SD card reader. It is not preloaded in the unit like the other ones. Let's take a measurement of this to see how big it is. This is going to stick down off of the windshield about 2 3.25 inches. The full length of the system is 3 at the top. If we go all the way out to the bottom corner, we're looking about 4. And width at its widest, we're looking at about 2 3/4 of an inch. Take a look at what these look like on the windshield as far as lining up the camera to a center point. We will have the 200, it's going to be off to the driver's side. The 850 is going to be off to the passenger side. And the 3000 is going to be the one most located in the center. But keep in mind, when you look at it from the side profile, this is what you are going to have on your windshield. This is what you are going to have on your windshield. And this is going to sit like this because it has a mount that sticks off of it like that. Well, all right, guys, this has been part 1 of the Thinkware dash cams. Hopefully, this has answered some of the questions as far as what comes in the box, what do I need to get. But that's it. That's all we got. We hope you enjoyed this. Fernando.
On to the next one, guys.
You guys have a great night as always, and we'll see you later next time.
Bye.